This episode contains mature themes, including topics of obsession, betrayal, and violent acts, which some viewers may find distressing. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. A final TikTok video shows 16-year-old Kalecia Williams dancing in her Atlanta hotel room on Christmas night 2020, smiling, carefree, unaware of the danger about to unfold. In the clip, Kalecia, affectionately nicknamed Pinky, moves to the music with youthful energy. Suddenly, she appears startled, looking off camera as if someone has entered the room, and the recording cuts off abruptly. Mere minutes later, Kalecia would be mortally wounded. What happened in those moments after the video ended? This question would haunt her family and investigators, setting the stage for a heartbreaking true crime story that gripped Atlanta and left a community searching for answers.
Funeral arrangements for a 16-year-old girl who was shot to death at the Hyatt Regency on Peachtree Street Saturday. Her loved ones spoke exclusively to Newsred reporter Alex Whitler, begging police to consider others who could be responsible for the teen's death.
Family says they're baffled as to why 16-year-old Kalecia Williams, or Pinky as they called her, never made it out of the Hyatt Regency alive. They say she was supposed to be at a chaperoned event at an Airbnb, and they believe the shooter isn't the only person responsible for her life being cut short.
Kalecia Pinky Williams was a vibrant 16-year-old high school student with a love for dancing and social media.
Wait, stop the motherfucking music. You, are you dumb?
She attended South Atlanta High School and, like many teens, enjoyed making TikTok videos to share with friends. Described by family as a homebody, Kalecia was content to spend evenings at home watching Netflix and scrolling through her phone. In fact, her stepfather, Ronnie Savoy, joked that he had to urge her to go out and get fresh air.
I said, Pinky, you need to go outside to get some air. No, man, I'm good. As long as I got my Wi-Fi and my Netflix.
She was a cheerful, beautiful young girl who loved dancing, known for her playful videos and bright personality. Kalecia had just celebrated Christmas with her family and was looking forward to turning 17 on New Year's Day 2021. No one could have imagined that the holidays would end in tragedy for the Williams family. Despite her homebody nature, Kalecia's parents encouraged her to socialize occasionally. So when a friend from school, a girl named Infinity, invited Kalecia to a chaperoned Christmas party, her parents agreed. Another parent, Infinity's mother, personally assured Kalecia's mother, April Smith, that the gathering would be supervised and girls only.
She's supposed to be at an Airbnb with a couple of more friends from school and the mother. They'd have done this once before, so we was a little comfortable of letting her go the second time. And we spoke to the mother, and she said she was going to be there.
Trusting these assurances, Kalecia's parents allowed her a rare night out. On the evening of December 25th, 2020, around 9 p.m., they dropped Kalecia off for what they believed was a small, quiet holiday party at an Airbnb rental with a few girlfriends and an adult chaperone. It was a decision they would later agonize over. Unbeknownst to them, the planned Airbnb gathering never materialized as promised. Instead, Kalecia and some other teens were taken to a Hyatt Regency hotel in downtown Atlanta, where no parents were present to supervise.
Pinky's parents say there was never an Airbnb. The Crawford Long student left for the party around 9 p.m. Saturday, the day after Christmas. Her parents didn't know when they went to sleep around midnight their daughter was taking her last breath.
Welcome to Crime of Passion. I thank you, my viewers, most especially my subscribers, for your support as we keep improving and bringing daily told and untold true crime of passion stories updates. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. The celebration that night was not the innocent girls' get-together Kalecia's family expected. In reality, 2 teen boys ended up attending alongside the girls. It remains unclear why the venue changed from an Airbnb to the hotel. Kalecia's parents only learned later that another parent paid for their stay at the Hyatt Regency. Hotel policy requires guests to be 18 or older to check in, so an adult's name was on the reservation. According to Kalecia's mother, that adult was responsible for securing the hotel room for the minors, effectively facilitating an unsupervised teen party.
The hotel room was in her name, so I feel like she should be held accountable for my daughter's death this week.
The teens checked into the hotel on Christmas night. At first, nothing seemed amiss. Just a group of friends enjoying music and social media in their room. Kalecia, ever the TikTok enthusiast, recorded at least a couple of videos from inside the hotel room, dancing to trending songs. In one TikTok, she playfully participated in a viral dance challenge, but it was her final TikTok video, filmed around 12:02 a.m., that would later send chills through everyone who watched it. In that video, Kalecia is dancing in front of the camera when someone suddenly opens the door and enters the room. Kalecia's expression falls and she abruptly stops recording. The 8-second clip ends without explanation, leaving a silent, foreboding pause in the timeline of that night. Moments after the camera stopped, chaos erupted. Sometime between 12:02 and 12:23 a.m., a loud gunshot rang out in Kalecia's hotel room. According to one eyewitness, people in nearby rooms heard gunshots and rushed to help, finding a horrifying scene. Kalecia Williams had been shot in the groin and was gravely wounded, bleeding and unable to move. In the immediate aftermath, 2 young men, possibly other teens who were present, were seen frantically carrying Kalecia out of the room and into the elevator, trying to get her downstairs to the lobby for help.
I want the surveillance footage of what happened. You know, who went in that room, who came out of that room, who was all there, what took place. I need to know what happened after she made that last TikTok video at 12:02 and she was dead at 12:23. I need answers from 12:02 to 12:23.
Around 12:27 a.m., Atlanta police received 911 calls about a shooting at the Hyatt Regency, and officers rushed to the scene. They arrived to a grim sight in the lobby. Kalecia, lying unconscious from her gunshot wound, with bystanders attempting first aid. Officers noted she was not alert, not breathing, and had no pulse. Paramedics quickly transported her to a nearby hospital, but it was too late. Kalecia was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. Atlanta police immediately launched an investigation to piece together what happened in room 434 of the Hyatt that night. Inside the hotel room, they found evidence of an altercation. Investigators would later describe that Kalecia and a 16-year-old male acquaintance were the only 2 people in the room at the time of the shooting. The teen boy, who had also been attending the party, was quickly identified as a suspect. He had remained at the scene, and officers detained him for questioning within hours of the incident.
Atlanta police say she and a teenage boy were the only ones inside the room at the time of the shooting. They say the 2 were acquaintances and could have gotten into an argument. Her parents say something doesn't seem right.
The precise motive for the shooting was not immediately clear. However, evidence suggested the confrontation may have turned violent when Kalecia resisted unwanted advances. According to the police investigation, the person who startled Kalecia in her TikTok video was the same 16-year-old boy, later identified as Kyree Brown, and he allegedly tried to sexually assault her before shooting her. At the time, authorities did not publicly name the juvenile suspect, but later reports and court records revealed his identity once the case progressed. The notion that Kalecia, who believed she was at a girls-only supervised party, ended up alone with a peer who tried to harm her is a devastating turn in the story. Police recovered a handgun at the scene and took the 16-year-old boy into custody. While investigators built their case, the charges were severe: felony murder, aggravated assault, reckless conduct, possession of a firearm by a person under 18, and also a sexual assault charge related to what occurred before the shooting. In Georgia, felony murder, a killing committed during the course of another felony, carries penalties as serious as malice murder. The inclusion of a sexual assault charge strongly suggested that detectives believed Kalecia had been sexually attacked or that the shooting occurred during an attempted rape. Atlanta police later confirmed that Kalecia and the boy were acquaintances who knew each other prior to that night. What exactly they argued about, or what triggered his violent outburst, remains unclear in official records. But the implication of an assault paints a tragic picture of Kalecia fighting to protect herself in her final moments. For Kalecia's family, the shock was compounded by frustration. They were not even notified that anything had happened to Kalecia until around 9 o'clock the next morning, roughly 8 hours after she had died.
You see it, but you think it'll hit home. And not peeking.
They say they didn't know something was wrong until authorities called them at 9 a.m. the next day.
As a parent, you're supposed to pick up the phone and call that parent.
Instead, the family says a morgue attendant eventually contacted them, asking them to identify their daughter's body.
Like, this is the morgue. And I was like, the morgue? They was like, yes, ma'am. They was like, well, we're waiting on your daughter's body to come through.
Learning that Kalecia had spent her final moments in a hotel, not the promised Airbnb, and that she died without her parents by her side was almost too much for them to bear. April Smith and Ronnie Savoy rushed to make sense of the situation, but answers were scarce in those initial days. Their beloved Pinky was gone, and all they had were fragments of a story. In the days following Kalecia's death, her family and the Atlanta community demanded a fuller accounting of that night. The case garnered media attention, not only because of the eerie TikTok footage of Kalecia's final moments, but also due to the circumstances of an unsupervised teen gathering during a pandemic holiday. The Williams family, in their grief, turned into advocates, pressing police to investigate the parent who booked the hotel and any other individuals who might have been involved in the events leading up to the shooting.
She was responsible for getting the hotel room for these minors. The hotel room was in her name, so I feel like she should be held accountable for my daughter's death this week.
A breakthrough in understanding the aftermath came from an unexpected source. Weeks later, a witness from South Carolina named Kanotika Starkey came forward after seeing Kalecia's story on the news. Starkey had been staying at the Hyatt Regency that same night and had directly witnessed the frantic effort to save Kalecia. She reached out to Kalecia's family via social media and then gave an exclusive account to local reporters, shedding new light on the immediate aftermath. Starkey's testimony helped confirm details and dispel some misinformation. She described how she saw two young males carrying Kalecia off the elevator, and how she held Kalecia's hand until paramedics arrived. Starkey even recorded a brief cell phone video of the EMTs attempting CPR on Kalecia, which she shared with the family. Intriguingly, Starkey's video made Kalecia's relatives even more suspicious about the timeline. They had been told by someone that Kalecia's body was moved because there was a lot of blood in the hotel room. but Starkey's footage showed no visible blood on Kalecia's clothes or the lobby floor. "We want to know the reason why you took her from the floor to the lobby," Ronnie Savoy said, questioning if proper procedures were followed or if something was altered in those chaotic moments. Police maintained that the teen suspect was the sole alleged perpetrator, but the family wondered if there was more to the story. Perhaps negligence on the part of the so-called chaperone, or others who fled the scene before authorities arrived. By late January 2021, a month after the shooting, Kalecia's parents were still piecing together what they could. They held a vigil outside the Hyatt Regency, joined by friends and supporters shouting Kalecia's name and calling for justice for Pinky. The case was particularly alarming to many Atlantans because it involved juveniles and occurred in a public hotel, suggesting that even well-meaning parents could be deceived about their child's safety. Kalecia Pinky Williams was laid to rest on January 2nd, 2021, the day after what would have been her 17th birthday. At her funeral, family and friends mourned a life abruptly ended. As we reflect on this tragic case, let us honor Kalecia's memory by working to ensure no other family has to endure such a loss. The call for youth safety awareness rings louder than ever in Atlanta and beyond, urging all of us to take care of our children's futures. Kalecia's bright life was cut short far too soon, but perhaps through her story, others can be saved. Justice for Pinky now means making sure her fate is not repeated. Let this tragedy ignite action, tighter supervision of teen gatherings, open communication between kids and parents, and a community that refuses to look the other way. In memory of Kalecia Williams, may we commit to creating a safer world for our youth so that a night of celebration never again turns into a night of heartbreak.